My son, he was 2 at the time, walks in the office and he says, "Daddy, why don't you ever play with me?" He doesn't even think I want to be a part of his life. I can do this without like actually living my life. I can do this without actually being there. Like one sale's great, but when they're just going on autopilot like that, that's when I started to realize there's some real value inside of what I was learning.
Welcome to Veteran Voices SITREP with your hosts, Tom and Chris Faust.
Welcome to Veteran Voices. I am your host, Tom Faust. My co-host and son is having computer problems. He may join us as we go. And today on our podcast, we have Chris Celeste of Operation Veteran Freedom, OVF Academy. And we're going to talk about his experience in the military, his transition, issues that he's had, and how he overcame them, and then about OVF and how that's working. So welcome, Chris. Good to have you.
Thank you, Tom. Appreciate it. Really an honor to be on the podcast with you. And a bummer your son wasn't able to make it right now, but hopefully he does get to pop on and get to chat with him a little bit too.
Yeah.
But it's really an honor to be here and get to share a little bit.
Awesome. Yeah, it's great to have you. Can you tell us a little bit about your experience? I know you've told some of it before that I've heard, but our listeners probably haven't. So, go ahead and give us an introduction to yourself and how you got things rolling.
Yeah. So I don't want to go, too far back and take up too much time, but a quick recap. So I am currently 37 years old. I live in Arizona. I am a father of 3 and a husband of an amazing woman, Miss Erin Miller, and didn't always have the life I do today. Right. Currently, I make my own schedule. My office is in my best friend's house, who is also my business partner, which is 5 minutes from me. Hey, Chris made it. Good to see you. Like I was saying, it wasn't always this way. And the life I get to live today with my own schedule being made, having my office just 5 minutes from the house, being able to pick up, drop off my kids from school every single day, be at every single sporting event, make sure that they know that I'm there for them, wasn't exactly where this all started. And so, if you rewind back until, when I was actually in the military, I was 17 years old. I had just graduated from a high school, and I actually went into the DEP program. So I joined a little bit early. You guys are probably familiar with the DEP program, being yourselves. And so when I was officially 18, graduated, I was able to deploy, went to Afghanistan. I was a 19 Delta Cavalry Scout with a 371 Cav out of Fort Drum, New York. And back in 2006, we deployed overseas. I made it 8 months. I had a lot of crazy things happen. We can dive into that if you choose, but I'm going to skim over it just to make this a shorter story. Ultimately, I flatlined and was I was dead for a while. Brought back to life on life support in August 14th of 2006. Did rehabilitation in Walter Reed Army Medical Facility. Ultimately was discharged from the military. And that's kind of when the real struggle for me started. Lost my identity, lost my purpose, lost my people, didn't really know where to go. Had about 14 different pills a day being prescribed to me. So that wasn't necessarily helping either. And for the better part of a decade, just was a self-destructing spiral. Ultimately, one day, just decided I needed to get off the pills. That wasn't helping me. My wife, she was my girlfriend back then, my wife now, was a huge piece of that, being like, I can't take that. You don't even remember what I said to you yesterday. Like, there's whole months that you don't remember. They had me on Xanax at the time, so I was like a walking zombie. So she was just like, we got to figure something else out. And we did. We were able to get me all the way down to 1 pill a day for my seizure disorder, for my TBI. So I can keep my license. Everything else was replaced with medical cannabis. And that's when I started getting clear and started figuring some things out for myself and actually like functioning again. My wife ended up getting pregnant with our first child. And I realized sitting there that when he was officially born, I was sitting there and I realized that I did not want my child to grow up. And the only thing he could think of is that, feel sorry for my dad because he served our country and he got hurt. And so I wanted to do something more. I wanted to be able to create more of a legacy, be more of a predominant part, not just in their lives, but a part of the actual producing of the life that they had. And so I started a mobile auto glass business with a really good friend of mine. He was a tech. He was hating the industry. They were just, giving him barely anything for being the tech that, amazing tech that he was, giving a lot of hell for actually being going out and installing in 110 degrees here in Arizona. And ultimately he came to me and he said, I want to start a business. And I think us together would do a really good job. And, I have no college education. I joined the military right out of high school. I have never owned a business before. And so I told him no. No, I'm not going to do that. My wife, again, she's my wife at this time, said to me, you need to do this. I believe in you. You could do this. You could do something really well here. Why don't you give it a shot? That business was called Easy Peasy Auto Glass here in Arizona. And we very quickly took it to, multiple six figures for the first 2 years we had it. I basically learned it from Google as I was going. It was difficult as hell. But what happened for me in that business is that I went from a guy who was scared to pick up a phone. Like I would be drenched in sweat just picking up a phone to talk to one of the vendors. That's how much anxiety I had for my PTSD. I couldn't go to Walmart and shop for myself. But what I did through the process of putting myself on the line like that and putting my family's livelihood on stake was I pushed myself past anything I'd ever felt before. And even though I would go off those calls, white as a ghost, drenched in sweat, need to go change my shirt, I did it. And I did it over and over again until it wasn't so scary and it wasn't so bad. But ultimately, what I realized is that, and this is kind of my line in the sand moment, if you will, it was in October 2017. My son, he was 2 at the time, walks in the office and he says, Daddy, why don't you ever play with me? My office is at home. And so, you talk about having your heart ripped out and looking at it beating in your face. Like, I just didn't know, like, whoa, what do you mean? Like, I'm doing all of this because I want you to know that I can be more than I was, more than I can show you the way, that no obstacle or TBI or any diagnosis is going to stop you from being what you want to be and being successful. But yet he doesn't even think I want to be a part of his life. And so I started bawling my eyes out. I just started crying. Luckily, he had already walked out. A kid at 2 years old, unfazed, just says the thing and walks out, right? Mm-hmm. And so I'm bawling my eyes out, trying to figure out, like, where did I go wrong? I own my own home. I'm married. I have 2 healthy kids at this point. I own my own business. We're making really good money. Things are good, but I feel hollow inside. I feel broken. Like, what is wrong here? I don't know what you gentlemen believe in, and I don't want to ever push belief on anybody, but I believe that when you listen, there's a higher power kind of answering some things for you. And in that moment, I was given an answer. Usually when I'm hustling and bustling through the business day, I have music or something, podcast on and YouTube in the background. And what ended up happening was that, before premium YouTube even existed, commercials would come on and this ad popped on, and it was introducing me to the ideas of digital marketing, how you could take an idea and promote it online where the attention actually was, but also how you could use technology to do the work for you instead of being the guy stuck at the computer 24/7. And obviously, being that guy at that moment, it really sang to me. It really spoke to me. And I brought it right to my wife and I was like, hey, I have the answer. And she was like, that sounds too good to be true. Like, that just sounds like a pipe dream. Can you prove to me that this actually works? And so I did. I went out and I started researching it. I found a couple people who had already gone through the program that I was looking at. They were doing really well. They were willing to talk to me. They were willing to talk to my wife. And she said, okay, let's do it. Now, Tom, you may be familiar with this, but a lot of these programs, they're like $10,000, $30,000 a piece. They're not cheap. They're pretty expensive programs to get involved in. The one I was doing was $10,000 a year. And so I had to take out a loan. I didn't have that kind of money sitting around just to invest. I have kids, I have all this stuff going on. So I actually borrowed $2,000 from my sister for the down payment, and I put the rest on a loan that gave me 6 months interest free. And so I had a 6-month deadline just looming over me to get this thing paid off and done. before I was paying, astronomical 20% interest on this thing. And I don't know if it was that or because I finally had figured out like, hey, I'm already spending a lot of time at this computer, mapping out logistics for my techs, booking new appointments for the following week, dealing with vendors for glass, dealing with vendors for moldings. I was already doing all this stuff. Why couldn't I not actually use that time and then have that hard work keep working for me? That was like the main thing that stood out to me. I'm already working hard. I'm already getting paid really well. Like, what if I didn't have to always do that and that could actually keep paying me? And so I was just driven. I had this debt looming. I had this idea sitting, and I just dove in. And for 4 months, I didn't go to dinner. I didn't go to barbecues. I didn't do anything. I had one screen like this. I have 2 monitors now. I didn't have that then. I had a laptop, and I just split the windows. And the $300 laptop from Walmart, guys, it did not have anything fancy to do this. Split the screens, and as the person was telling me what to do, I would just do it step by step by step. And before I knew it, I had what's called a lead magnet built, and I was able to build some quick Facebook ads and put that out into the world, and I started generating leads. And then I had this sales funnel in place that the leads were going through, and they were being curated and taken on this buying journey. And all of a sudden I was making sales, and I was doing it. And I still remember I was at one of those sip and paints, like the, sip wine and paint with my wife. Mm-hmm. And then I was sitting there, my phone kept going off. And I usually try to like be present, be in the moment, but it just kept going off. And I'm like, all right, somebody really needs me. But no, it was actually sales just popping off. Boom, boom, boom on my phone. And that was the first time I realized to myself, like, oh, wait a second. I can do this without like actually living my life. I can do this without actually being there. Like one sale is great, but when they're just going on autopilot like that, that's when I started to realize there's some real value inside of what I was learning and what I was benefiting from. And so, again, I joined and I learned this because I wanted time with my family and I wanted to be able to earn a really good living for them. And I wanted to leave a legacy, really. I didn't want to be known for the broken vet. I didn't want to be the guy with the brain injury. I didn't want to be that guy. And so I changed that narrative for myself. And because I went so hard and I changed that narrative so drastically, I ended up becoming a top earner in that company that I had applied for and learned that through. And for 2 years, I earned more money for that company than anybody else. And they asked me to speak on stage. Well, they didn't ask me. I volunteered myself, and they said yes to speak on stage for the very first time. And when I did, I was sharing just my journey and how I did it and kind of, the steps like I just did here with you guys. And what naturally came up to me while I was sitting there talking to them is, wait a second, I'm a vet with a TBI and PTSD. If you would have talked to me just a few years ago, I couldn't even go to Walmart and buy my own groceries. But here I am standing on stage. And at this time, I was making $30,000 a month inside that affiliate offer. And I'm not promising any income claims or anything like that, just sharing my story. And I'm like, if I can go from a guy who thought I was going to be stuck on a disability for the rest of my life and, just being a good dad to actually changing my whole narrative and being able to go out and impact other people's lives. And at this point, because I was sharing myself on Facebook, the people that were coming to me were naturally vets because of the story I was sharing. And so I was helping them. One of my best friends, a lot of my best friends, my business partner, all came from ads I had placed talking about my own story, right? And so I'm on stage and I had this epiphany. I'm like, oh, wait a second. If I can do it, other vets can do it. And this needs to be something that all veterans know about. And so I kind of went on this sprint where I started figuring out what does that look like. And I created a company called the Digital Veteranpreneurs Initiative. But at the time, I had not been all the way through personal growth and development. I had not known the mentors and the people that I known today. And so I believe that I had to do it all myself, and that if I asked for help, it was a sign of weakness, and that no one would want to listen to me because I didn't have the answers. So I failed. I drove that thing into the ground because I wasn't willing to ask for help. And then I had to go back to affiliate marketing. And when I say I drove it into the ground, I mean, I had a car, my Suburban, my family's vehicle, repossessed. We went over $75,000 in credit card debt. I drove it into the ground with pride. And I had to look at my wife after our car was no longer in our driveway and look at her and say, hey, I am sorry. I failed us. I did my best, but I didn't have enough. And that's one of my programs. I'm not enough, but that's kind of where I was coming from. And she looked at me and she goes, Chris, just do what you're good at. Stop trying to do this other thing for a minute and just do what you're good at. Go back to affiliate marketing. Go back to the thing that's made you all the money. And so I did. I switched it up. I went back to a health and wellness offer. It was a CBD thing. That's how I met Leah, my business partner. And I made all that money back, got our car back, got us out of debt, bought a new house, like did all the things we needed to do. And then I kind of looked at it and I was like, there's no way that I can do this and other vets can't. There has to be a way we can bring this to the veteran community. There has to be a way this thing works. Mm-hmm. And so I put a post out inside of my current group of people that I was working with in that health and wellness offer. And I was like, hey, do any of you, because there are a lot of them were vets or a spouse of a vet. And I said, hey, do any of you want to make a difference in the vet community? Do any of you feel driven to bring this, what we do and how we do it, to more people? And Liam wrote, like my business partner, Liam Weisner, rose his hand. He was like, hey, I do. And so we linked up and we started Operation Veteran Freedom. That was right before the pandemic. Luckily for us, we are not limited by brick and mortar or where people are locked or not locked. We are on the internet, so it's very easy to still grow and scale. And with having the knowledge now and the wherewithal to not need all the answers, but be able to surround myself with those who maybe do, I was able to, with Liam's help, very quickly scale Operation Veteran Freedom to over 3,000 members. And then in the last, we're going on 5 years now in business together. We've again grown it over to over 3,000 members. We have hundreds of people who have started a business. And as I mentioned earlier, we have several who have made over $1 million. And then our one, unicorn, as we call him, Mr. Chris Wilson, who does like basically wholesale foreclosure restorations, ended up getting locked in with the government. So now he has large government contracts that he does. He had most recently, 2 years ago, just redid all the barracks at Leavenworth. And so he's actually made over $1 billion using a Facebook ad to get himself started, our frameworks, and just rolled out from there. So that's, if I could put it in the briefest amount of time, give you 15 years of my life, that would be it. That's from military service to where I stand today. That's it.
I'm curious how, do you think that something in your military experience helped you in your ability to concentrate your attention and actually do something that created this other business? Do those relate, do you think?
1,000%. One of the main reasons that I love working with veterans over any other community that we've worked with we've worked with many different communities other than vets, but the one reason I love working with veterans more than anybody is because the pure like personality characteristics that are inbred into us in the military directly translate to success in the business world, right? Having integrity with your word, being disciplined and accountable with your actions, being actually driven towards a purpose, being mission and objective oriented, being able to work as a team, being able to lead and delegate, all of these things that we learn, and not everybody in the military learns that, right? As you move up in rank, you will learn those things, but all of these things directly correspond to success in the civilian sector as well.
What were some of the biggest challenges you faced when transitioning from military life to starting your own business?
Yeah, this is a great question, Chris. One of the main things that we really we do skill set training a lot, right? Digital skill set training is one of the main things OVF teaches. But one of the main things that we actually focus on and work with a lot of vets with is mindset and personal development. And the main reason that is because the transition from military to civilian is one that is quite daunting and difficult for so many of us. And there really isn't much out there, TAPS program, a couple of different things that exist, but there really isn't much out there as far as the military provided that really helps us with that program. There's many out there now that do a great job, but it really was a struggle. My whole identity was tied up in being a combat arms scout for the military. I kind of was on this 19-year-old, I'm a badass kick, almost, if you will. When I got hurt overseas, that all got taken. And then I also had to deal with the fact that I didn't have my friends to talk to anymore. unfortunately, I lost a lot of really good friends, 8 in total. From May 5th, when I lost David Timmons, who was our first friend to die in a helicopter accident, all the way until I almost passed and was flatlined on August 14th, we lost 8 total from my unit. And that was, for a long time, something that crippled me, something that kept me up at night, something that I wasn't at peace with, mainly because I didn't think that I deserved to live over them. One of the main things for me is that I wasn't a good soldier, right? Like, I had Article 15s. I got in trouble. I was young and dumb and just living my life. And, when the time came to serve and go overseas and do what I had to do, did I do it? Yes, 100%. Did I do it honorably? 1000%. But when I was stateside, I was wild. And I got myself in a lot of trouble because of that. And I had a lot of really good people who got me straight, got me narrow, got me back on the track, always looked out for me, that never came back. And so I dealt with a lot of survivor's guilt. Best way to, this is the most common term to use there. And it for the first 5 years being back, I think I would say that was the main reason why I was so self-destructive. I didn't want to look at myself in the mirror. I didn't want to deal with the fact that I wasn't living up to any kind of standard worth them. And it just was really difficult for me. But, there comes a time when you can only run so long, right? You can only run from yourself, from your demons for so long. At this point in my life, I'm a full-blown drug addict. I'm using all the pills they're giving me, way more than they need to be. That's not working anymore. So I found myself using Oxycontin for a while there, towards the very end of that very deep hole I put myself into. And so I had to come to terms with the fact that, like, I am not doing them justice. I am not living a life worthy of that sacrifice. And ultimately, the thing that shifted for me was I was in Georgia. I was doing a 9-day personal growth and development seminar, all inclusive. It was the very first, this is actually how I met Mr. Todd Campbell, Tom.
Okay.
And I'm sitting there, it's 3 a.m. We're going through an exercise, and I came to the realization, I'm going through this exercise thinking I'm getting closure on my father and some past trauma. And ultimately what came to realization is that, like, I've been running from the fact that I didn't feel worthy to be alive because I wasn't the time, and I had not been living up to the sacrifice that had been given so freely for me and many others. And when I came to that realization and started to shift my belief a little bit more, that is when the real success, the real fire, the unstoppable Chris Celeste that you know today, Tom, and that you're going to get to know Chris, came alive. And I think that also is a huge driving force behind why OVF has been willing to pivot and handle all these blows that we've taken with Facebook shutting us down and tech not working and all these different things, to really just keep going and keep being of service in any way we possibly can, because it's much, much deeper than a business. It's literally living a life in their honor. And
you brought up Operation Veteran Freedom again, and the things you're doing. What type of programs do you offer through that have helped the veterans get ahead and get their own businesses going? What kind of things?
So it's been an evolution. And as all, social media and tech it's just an evolution, constantly evolving and constantly growing into something bigger and better. And so when we first started it, it was a Facebook community, just a Facebook group where you could go learn. If you needed additional help, you could, buy one of our courses or go deeper in. But really, it was a place where we did live trainings every week. We helped people out. We would share different mindset or skill set hacks or things that we were going through, and just help the community. But what ended up happening is that Facebook decided that in a group of 3,500 people, they would show that video to less than 100, repeat week after week after week. And we were pouring our heart and soul into growing a group and doing, providing this value to them, and no one was seeing it. We ended up switching gears. We built an app. We started doing more of like a off of platform stuff, where we had built like an inner circle. We built coaching programs. We did all this stuff where people can come meet us outside of the social media platforms and actually learn from us. And that's what we've been doing behind the scenes for a while now. It's been really effective to people who are ready and willing and have the ability to get started in a business to kind of meet us off the platform and kind of build it there. we've had a lot of really great success with that. We've had people in nonprofit. We've had people in health and wellness. We've had people in CBD and cannabis. We've had people in real estate. We've had people in digital products and sales, physical product and sales, apparel. We've helped them in all these different things, growing and using these frameworks to build it out. But ultimately, at the end of the day, to have the community aspect is what we love. And we've lost that over the years. Really, we've kind of lost that. It's and through text, or if we can in a post that we can keep going. But one thing I think we really solved here recently is bringing back that community aspect, because we like the tribe. Everyone rising each other's boats, everyone inspiring each other, everyone sharing what the struggle is, so we can all come together and solve it. Like, that was what OVF thrived off of in the beginning, and why so many of our people who we now inner circle and all these different fans of ours rave about what we do is because that community, that tribe aspect of what we had. Yeah, a lot of them learned really great stuff and went on to create great success, but the reason they stuck around after that success was the tribe, right? They didn't need to learn. They were already creating what they wanted. They stuck around for the tribe, and we kind of lost it, like I said. And so here recently, we just in the last week or two launched a new community on School. And we've been finding that to be like, the buzz is good. Everyone's interacting in the comments. Everyone's dropping what they're dealing with. Tom just did a post today inside School with us about something he was learning. So it's much more engaging, and we're actually able to reach you with what we're teaching you. And that's what we love to do, right? We love teaching. Like Liam, who is my business partner, probably one of the best coaches sought after in the industry. Tom, do you have an opportunity to work with him personally?
I have not, only
Okay.
in the things that the lives that you've done with that. But he's like the AI master.
That he is as well. Yeah. And so, I have almost 8 years of digital sales and marketing experience. I've made millions of dollars in multiple niches online. Liam also is he's like the tech wizard to my marketing expertise, right? And so us together create what is like the founding team of OVF. And we've had people help us, and interns and other people who are out there, promoting us, but we are the core team. And, what we've been able to do here recently is simplify the framework. So what we taught our millionaires and the people, the 3,000 who first came in, has been evolved and upgraded, just like technology, with AI. What we have going on now is the ability to build businesses and automate them using software, which we've always had that ability, right? That's the bread and butter of what I've done for the last 8 years and how I've literally paid my bills and supported my lifestyle. But what's different now is that instead of spending weeks and months, maybe even longer, depending on your learning curve, developing the brand, the offer, understanding who your customer is, which is really important to advertising. So many people don't know that. To really do all that with AI and the frameworks that we have built, you can have all that up and running in under a week, which used to take forever to do, which is really what the combination of marketing skills and AI together, me and Liam together, has done.
Well, speaking of success, do you kind of have any a success story of a veteran you've helped out with the organization?
Yeah, so I mentioned Chris Wilson earlier, and he's kind of the unicorn. But I already briefly talked about how he created his. So I'm going to talk a little bit differently about someone else. So there's a gentleman, he's the owner, him and his father are the owners of a CBD company called Fiddler's Green. Both of them are vets, both of them amazing family-owned veteran business. They farm their own hemp, and they create their own CBD for veterans by veterans, which is what drew us to them and them to us. When we first met them, they were doing pretty well marketing their products. They had a tincture, they had some rubs. A lot of vets were really loving it. What we did was we introduced them to the idea of understanding what a dream customer is, which again, I mentioned just a little previously earlier. So many companies out there are marketing and talking, and yeah, maybe your product can solve a problem for a lot of people, but when you speak to everyone, you get no one. But when you know who you're speaking to and you can solve a problem for a specific person, and you can meet them where they're at in the conversation already happening in their head, you can win and you can help them. And so we introduced them to this concept of a dream customer. And we walked them through a training actually Tom had actually been through, which is our dream customer, our customer avatar training. And by going through that and then going through our brand training, he was able to take who his dream customer is, which is a veteran who is suffering, and his brand, and combine them together to create some marketing promos. But his marketing promos, we found out very quickly, could not involve at this time CBD or anything inside of it. Taboo words cannot be used inside of advertising. So we said, okay, anytime we run into this, we're going too niche specific and we're not allowed to actually say these words. Okay, great. We'll say those words when we get them into our ecosystem. Let's branch out a little bit. Let's talk about a more broad word and let's get them involved that way. And so with him, we created a success story pamphlet of 5 of his greatest customers who have gone from absolutely in pain, suffering, miserable, to using his product and having all this great relief. And let's share these in a case study format with other people. And we can share that freely on paid ads or organic, because now we're not talking about CBD or hemp specifically, we're talking about a wellness practice. So we did that. And we ran into another issue at that time. Payment processors would not allow sales funnels to promote CBD. So we're like, okay, instead of promoting directly to the customer, what is your number one way of getting this distributed to people? And he says, well, we're actually in 3 local dispensaries. They actually take up bulk of our, of our harvests. And I said, okay, well, what would it be like if instead of promoting it one-off online, you only had to promote it to a dispensary and they were placing orders 10 times what a regular customer or 100 times what a regular customer would place? Yeah, that would be great. Why don't we do that? Okay, cool. So instead of promoting B2C, which is business to customer, let's promote B2B. Let's promote your business to another business. And so we switched it up. We changed the promotion. We changed the dream customer to other dispensaries, placed the ad. Within 1 month of placing that ad, he had another 60 dispensaries who were now promoting his product, and he had to buy another farm. He had to go out and buy a whole new field to keep up with production. Because when we understand our customer and we understand our objective and we understand how to place our brand in front of them, we can win big. And I believe in situations which we call win-win, where I win because you win. And that's how you create a happy customer who keeps buying and real brand relationships. And that was one of the people who went on to gross, a very large sum of money inside of their business using our particular coachings and trainings, which those exact trainings are what we just updated and dropped inside of school. Brand messaging, dream customer. We walk you through how to identify it like we did with them, but then we added more to it because we show you how to use AI to bolster it and make it even more impactful.
And in that story, you kind of mentioned a few challenges that you had, like you couldn't use these words in advertising. You couldn't. Then you got farther and you couldn't accept the credit cards because you're mentioning these things. And are there any other common challenges that the entrepreneurs face when they're trying to get their business going this way? Like common things that everybody runs into that you need to deal with?
Yeah, I think the number one thing that we run into with clients and students that we work with, not necessarily inside of OVF, because when they're coming in, we're directly steering them away from these things. But Liam and I do a lot of consulting and coaching for other large education companies. And one of the things that we notice, because one of the common issues that I see is that everyone wants you to get a quick win, which is great. Everyone should get a quick win. I believe that that's important, right? But a quick win at what cost is really what I see. And so a lot of companies out there will tell you, just put up this post. Just share this thing. Just do what everyone else is doing. Share your link here. All you got to do is put your link out. Someone's going to buy, right? And what it ends up doing, it ends up hurting them more than helping them. And a lot of times, if they don't know any better, they'll put paid advertising behind it. And what ends up happening is if you try to promote an affiliate link or a case study story that isn't yours, or any of these things that are actually banned from being in advertising, you'll lose your Facebook account. I believe that marketing has not really changed since the beginning of marketing. It just evolves, like I've said a million times. And marketing is just going where the attention is and drawing that attention somewhere else. And the attention is on social media. And so if you can't get on Facebook to put your ads out, you're shooting yourself in the foot, right? And so what I've noticed is that so many people do things either because they're being told to, or just because they don't know any better, and they're actually shutting down their Facebook accounts. And so one thing I would say is that it's not the end of the world. You can rebuild it. You can start a new account, new card, new all these different things. But it is a very common thing that I see people running into is jumping the gun, going out there, performing bad practices, and then losing their ability to promote properly in the future. And so I would just say, understand what best practices are, and being your own brand and sharing your own story, even if you are just getting started, it's always going to work better than just blasting links everywhere. And the number one thing I would add to that is that a first grader is an absolute rock star genius to a kindergartner. And so there's a thing that people perceive in the marketplace and get wrong, that you have to be an expert. So many people go out and they falsely represent themselves as experts because of this. But instead, what you can do and what is powerful is just let them know, I'm on a journey too, and I'm just going to share with you what I'm going through so that maybe it can benefit you too. And if you come from that place, especially as a brand new person in affiliate marketing, you will win. It's not I'm the expert. It's no, I'm just like you, and I'm going on this journey. If you're like me, you can either watch or you can come with me. Either way, I'm going to share it. And that'll keep people from getting the number one thing I see happen, which is getting your Facebook account or any account taken away from you before you even get started.
So we know that things like PTSD for veterans can really affect their ability to hold a job, just because one thing or another can trigger, especially in the customer service field. So kind of like how does your organization help veterans overcome things like PTSD that could affect how they interact with potential customers?
Yeah. So there's two things that I think are really valuable about the way we have things set up when it comes to people, especially like myself, who are overcoming PTSD. One is that you don't have to interact or deal with other people directly unless you choose to. In the business that we build, is there a level of you need to share yourself? 100%. But you can do that from the comfort of a keyboard, from the comfort of your home, without anybody staring you in the face or laughing at you or any of the things that may make anyone feel uncomfortable. So that's one thing that I thought really ultimately too, I was really excited about when I first got started, is that I can create this business, I can create success without having to put myself out there and be the guy in front of everybody. What I did discover is that I actually benefited from doing that because it was pushing me outside of my comfort zone, and that ultimately I kind of enjoyed doing it because I was helping people. And so I just kept doing it. Can you repeat the question? My brain just went off track.
So yeah, so basically, we know these issues, but the veterans have can affect those things like that. So how do you kind of help them navigate through that? You had mentioned that they can do this stuff from the comfort of their own computer. They don't have to worry about being in front of everybody, staring somebody in the face as they try and sell something. Just kind of like what other ways would you help somebody get through whatever it might be, if it's an anxiety from PTSD of, being rejected. I mean, you never know what could trigger it, but do you have any other things that your organization helps with to kind of push past that potential barrier?
Yeah. And I thank you for repeating the question. Well, you would never know it talking to me these days because I've worked so hard at it, but sometimes the old railroad track just comes right off, TBI and all that. But yeah. So on the skill set side, as you mentioned, it's more of a hands-off, do it at your own pace behind the screen, like behind your own keyboard, and you have your own, comfort there. On the other side of that, when people are ready, we also, because I benefited so greatly from personal growth and development, I have stayed very deeply studied in that ever since I went in the very first time. I've actually become very close friends with the very first person who ever introduced me to that. I have traveled the world with that man. I have actually been a facilitator for his company for years and helped other people kind of overcome these things and work their way through it. What we realize is that with a lot of veterans, obviously myself included, traveling and going to a group setting and putting yourself into a hotel and doing these things might not be what you're ready for just yet. And so we've done a couple of different things that allow veterans to Start moving forward, start gaining some more tools and resources to overcome anxiety and PTSD and deal with some of these things that may get triggered without ever leaving the comfort of their home. One of them is a 12-week, you walk through it yourself kind of course that you can go through. It's not interactive. It is interactive for you, but it's not fully immersive, as I would say, which we do have another program that's more like that. So this one's 12 weeks. It's called Tactical Mind. It's created by my mentor, Todd Campbell, and you can walk through it and gain a lot of really great tools over 12 weeks to help you with anxiety, help you with clarity of purpose, to help you with dealing with some of the triggers such as family that may come up and really being more present and available for your family. He works with you guys a lot, or with you veterans through that. Again, that's more done at your own pace through 12 weeks. You watch a video, you do some workbooking, and it really does help. We found that we needed something that could do that exact thing. Again, for vets who aren't ready to get interactive, to really dive in. But what we also have available is something called The Calling. So The Calling is a fully immersive challenge series. And so what we did was we gamified growth. And so you come in and every month you unlock a new category. There are 8 categories that we believe fulfill you in life. Some examples of that are career, family, finance, social life. So there's 8 of them all together that go around. Every month you unlock a new category. You go into that category. And every week of that month, there's a challenge. Week 1, we give you the challenge. Every category has a different facilitator. So you would come in, the very first category you would get is attitude, because everything in life is based off the way we look at it and the attitude we bring to it. And so you meet Todd, you get introduced to Todd. Todd walks you through what attitude is and why it's important. And then he tees you up on your first challenge. You do that first challenge for the week. At the end of every week, you do a video recording that is uploaded into our community, so our private community. And we cheer you on, we support you. You let us know how it went, what results you saw, maybe where you came up short, maybe some obstacles that you came into. And it's really a rallying cry around you and what you're doing to grow. And so every week is a new challenge. Every week we record it, and then we keep rolling through every category. The community supports you and rallies behind you. You get one-on-one calls on every second week with that facilitator. We help you walk through the challenge. We cheer you on, support you. And really what it's doing is allowing you to take the areas, the categories of life that really come whole and create wholeness in one's life, and directly schedule and implement things that are going to grow it from what we call a 0 to 10 scale. And so every month you're going to be trying to go from 0 to 10 in that category using these challenges, and it's up to you how much you pour in, but we lay it out for you and we cheer you on. And it's actually, I think, a way to really have fun and gamify a growth experience.
Nice.
So with these communities that you have, like you mentioned, the school and your inner circle and various things, I suppose those veteran can help other veterans in that as well. So they all get talk to each other and share and cheer each other on.
100%. The community is, by nature, the tribe is very interactive. We support each other. It's not just Liam and I who help. If someone's already been there, done that, and has the answer, they will pitch in. They will help as well. Chris Wilson actually sponsors. When we had our Inner Circle coaching program, it was $1,000 per person to join. Chris Wilson was actually one of the advocates who was sponsoring people into that because he believed in it so much. So it's not just coming back and providing knowledge and sharing. Some of our vets actually come back and sponsor with monetary, like they give money to help other vets go through this program because they believe in it. So it really is a supportive community of people who want to see you win. The Inner Circle itself is more of like a brotherhood, a camaraderie. It's a place where we just come together. We're all 7 or 8 figure business owners who come together and chat about what we're doing, what's working, how can we help each other. It started off as this coaching program, but then they started having so much success that it was like there's not really much more we could teach you other than to keep you on track. And so they're more of like a brotherhood.
You've said that you've had to evolve the program obviously as the times change. So what are your kind of future plans for OVF, and how do you see it evolving in the next couple of years as things change.
Yeah, I love that. So ultimately, at the beginning, we helped people build businesses, right? Businesses around their passions, businesses around things they believed in, missions they wanted to support, whatever that was, we helped them build businesses. What we're switching to is more skill set oriented. So learn the skills of digital marketing, learn the skills of AI software automation, learn the skills of funnel building, learn the skills of copywriting, which is the written word that actually sells, which is like the highest paid profession in the world. Like insane what those guys can rake in just for a couple of words, and get really specific on it. So right now, what we have inside of school in our community is really the foundation of how marketing works and how you can apply that to any offer. So instead of being very specific on, promote school and grow school, or promote this offer and grow this offer, it's more of like, hey, what does every good campaign that you're ever going to promote on ever in marketing need? Okay, these are the 101s of marketing, the foundations. This is what we're going to teach you. And then, we're going to grow and keep going and have sales and different, so sales is something that Liam has a big background in, and something that I'm actually, the sales engine for our team. And so teaching more of the skills of what works rather than just, hey, build a business. Because yeah, we have a really successful business and that's a lot of fun, but I believe in multiple streams of income, not multiple streams of distraction. Get one up and running and working successfully and then switch over. But my skills provide me multiple streams of income. My business only provides me two. So teaching people skills that they can apply anywhere, business, career, another company, helping a friend, whatever that is really the evolution of where we're going. And because of the network and the relationships and all the, collaborations and partnerships we've had in the last almost, 8 years now of my being online and almost 5 years of OVF being in existence, we have some of the best in personal growth and development backing us and helping us. We have some of the best in digital education backing us and helping us. We have some of the best funnel builders and copywriters who, have not only seen what we've built, but love the idea of helping other vets, love the idea of getting these skills in the right hands so they can actually get out there and do something with them. That's the evolution. The evolution is a community of people who are coming to better their lives, learn digital skills, have personal growth and development baked into their everyday life. And so that's why Operation Veteran Freedom is the name of the company. But OVF Academy is where we bring people because we want to teach them skills and we want to better their lives.
So how can, we'll provide links to, to your website and to your trainings and things that if people want to find out more about that. Is there any other information that?
Yeah. So, if you just want to know about us, then just go to ovfacademy.com. We have, our regular website, just like anybody else. It talks about our mission statement, talks about who we are, me and Liam. It talks about, some of the courses we've done in the past, some of the stuff that's on there. We no longer offer. It's currently being updated as we speak. As I said, we're always evolving. And so school just started. It's funny how you said that school just started, even because it is an education program, just started, within the last month. So that's all going to be updated on that page. But you can go there and learn about us. You can go to our testimonials. We have hundreds of testimonials on there you can go check out. But if you wanted to get started with us, if you wanted to kind of join us on this journey, if you're also a vet looking to learn skills, have an awesome community, maybe get some more in-depth coaching, then I would highly recommend that you join us in school. And right now, you can join us at school. For the first 100 members that join our school community, it's only $25 a month. You get all the education, all the training, plus bi-weekly coaching, which for coaching for us is hot seats, which means that we pull 3 members of our community out every coaching session. And we actually solve whatever the biggest problem is in your business live on the call, get you moving forward. So you start seeing results, and then anybody else who may be dealing with that problem in the audience, or another student who watches on a replay, gets that problem solved for them too, right? So we want to get you moving forward, and we want everyone to gain value. We do that every other week inside of the community, and I think that's really the best way to get people moving forward and getting results. Again, all of that plus our deep dive trainings on customer avatar, creating an irresistible offer, how to build a brand, how to use funnels, how to post your first ad on Facebook, all of that is back there, and it's only $25 a month for the first 100 people, and then it's going to double when we hit 100 and be $50 a month after that. So when you join, it may look different as far as pricing goes, but that's because we want to honor those who start and join us before we even have anything going. Before it's, it's just the foundation right now. You'd be a founding member of the OVF school, and it's just $25 a month.
Cool. Is there anything else, before we wrap up, is there anything else you'd like to share with the audience about your work or the importance of supporting veteran entrepreneurs?
There is one thing that comes to my mind, and not on either of those topics, but just, to other veterans. I've worked with thousands of veterans at this point now. And one of the things that I have come across is that we are some of the most capable people when we actually apply ourselves, but we don't find ourselves capable for whatever reason. There's many different ones, loss of identity, lack of support, change in environment, having a hostile environment that you're currently living in, whatever that may be. There's lots of reasons why. But what I will tell you is that you can choose to create something different. You may not have the resources or necessarily the opportunity sitting in front of you at this moment, but now you do, right? You have an amazing resource here with Tom and Chris with this podcast where you can tune in to their every episode, gain insight, gain inspiration, learn from other vets. You have the ability to link up with people like myself and Liam who are running programs and coaching to help other vets to really move forward. And so what I would say is that it may feel like things don't have a light at the end of the tunnel right now. It may not feel like you have any resources or anything that you can really use to get ahead, to start really creating something for yourself. But I will tell you from personal experience that it's only one click away and you can absolutely change your life if that's really what you want.
All right. Well, just want to thank you for being on here with us. It's great information. I really appreciate it. It has been good working with you. I will mention that I actually met you at one of those events, sort of like you were talking about.
Yeah.
And you did help me specifically through one issue with something we were dealing with heights.
Yeah.
And just help kind of center me and all that. And it was very helpful. I do appreciate that. I do appreciate the work that you do for veterans. So with that, I think we're done. We'll wrap this up and can share the links that you have that you want to.
Yeah. I will send them to you in Messenger. That way you have them. That way, because I know once we leave here, the chat goes away and all that. That way you have it. And one thing too that Liam and I have been talking about is that for people that are actively participating inside the community, like yourself, Tom, who's showing up for trainings or watching the replays, taking action, like you built your ebook this morning using our training. You're serious about what we're doing, and we love that. Right. We pour so much value and time into what we do that when people actually do something with it, it means the world to us. And so we want to honor that. And, whether someone joins off the podcast or joins any other way, people like yourself, we want to just let you know that, like, if you bring someone into our community, we're actually going to honor that we're going to reward that with a commission. And so not everyone gets this opportunity. We don't want to grow the group we don't want people coming in and then only growing it because they make money, right? Like, we don't want that. We want people there for the right reasons. But we also want to honor those who are actually out there doing stuff, creating something for themselves. And we believe in multiple streams of income, like I mentioned. So for every member you bring in who is an active member, you get $5 for that person.
All right. There you go.
And get rich.
It's funny, though. They add up. Like that CBD offer I was telling you about that I use to save my family. Mm-hmm. I still get checks from that. And I have not promoted it or done anything with it in 3 years. Wow. I still receive commissions from that till this day. I have multiple offers that do that to me. Now, I'm not by any means am I like paying all my bills with it, but it adds up. They really do start adding up.
Yeah. Again, thanks for being here. And on that note, we will see you all next time.
Yeah. Thanks for tuning in.